Hello guys and welcome to another episode of On the Hook Fishing. Today we're on a pursuit for some post-spawn pike and there's a twist today. Okay, so now we're on the spot. The first spot of the day, we've chosen this weed line here, and the challenge for today is that one of us has to cast close to the weed lines where I would guess that most of the pikes are, but the other one of us has to always cast away from the weed line and out to the deeper end. Maybe that's where the big fish are, so let's see how the results will be. But let's start by rigging up the rods and rigging up some lures. I'll start by rigging up a little soft bait. This is a 17 centimeter swim bait. I'm gonna rig it up with a shallow screw and a shallow rig to fish in the quite shallow waters here, close to the reed lines. Oh! That was a strike. Today I'm out fishing with one of my most skilled fishing friends, Kalle. Yeah. So, what is your professional opinion today? Which type of fishing do you think will prove the most effective? What will we catch the most pike on?
Probably near the shore, like fish shallow and stuff. I don't really believe in the deep part, but we will try.
I will probably try to prove him wrong by catching a decent pike out into the deep end. So I guess I'll switch and I'll try to catch a deeper pike, and you'll be allowed to cast into the reel lines if you want to for a while now. But let's see. Let's see who catches the most.
Yeah.
This is a great example of a spot where you can actually fish both into the deep waters and into the shallow waters at the same time, just depending on which way you aim your casts. Because out here we have a man-made dug up deep sort of channel for boats to pass through, and in here it's quite shallow, it's below 1 meters of depth. That means that we'll have a quite steep drop off here which we can locate using the sonar, and on that drop off we can sometimes find bait fish and also pikes. So this is a great opportunity to both be able to cast up into the shallows and also out into the deep hole. And in the deeper waters, in these regions, you will also find a lot of schooling bait fish, which can be, for example, perch or actually small little bleaks. So when fishing out into the deeper end, I think we will not stray away from actually using small lures. He just came like a torpedo from the weeds. Really nice. Nice little pike, caught it in the shallow waters, close to the weed line. I had contact with the fish a few casts earlier. I don't think this is the same pike though. This seems a little bit smaller. I mean, it's quite a small fish, but still fun. So let's release it and hopefully catch another one. Yep, another pike on. This is quite interesting. I thought I had a pike, but it's actually a tench. He was actually foul hooked, but he gave a pretty good fight. Thought it was a decent pike, but it was really something else. There's one. Oh, feisty one. I mean, it's a small fish, but still fun. So because we're trying to fish both shallow and deep today simultaneously, I want to use lures that can be very easily adjusted for the fishing depth. And that can be both a soft bait, which you can rig either with a shallow screw or with a jig head if you want to fish it a little bit deeper. It's also going to make the lure swim on the drop. Can be very nice if you're trying to catch a pike that's standing along the bottom. But you can also opt for an offset hook and a weedless rig like this one. It's a quite large hook here and it's offset rigged, so this lure will be almost entirely weedless as it is, but when the fish bites it'll expose the hook and you can set the hook. It doesn't have the same hookup ratio as a regular shallow rig or a jig head, but it's a unique way to actually be able to fish into the weeds. Another type of lure that can be fished both shallow and deep is a crankbait, and this specific crankbait is called a high-low. It's a traditional Swedish lure, and what's extra interesting about this lure is that it actually has a bill that can be adjusted for the diving depth. So if you want to fish very shallow, you can set the bill almost entirely vertically. This will make the lure run just below the surface, and if you then want to cast out to the deeper end, which we will do a lot of today, you can set the bill into a more flat position, which will allow the lure to dive deeper. So those are the two lures that we will be using today mostly. A swim bait that can be rigged in various different applications, and also a crankbait that can be adjusted for various different diving depths. But now, let's keep on fishing. This one feels a bit bigger actually. It's fighting quite hard. Nice one! This is far bigger than all the other pikes I've caught today. Really nice actually. I just weighed it, it's a 6 kilo fish and it was 99 centimeters long. So actually one of my biggest fish so far this year. Caught it on one of these small little swim baits, the Berkeley 6 Smash. 17 centimeter lure, so not too big of a lure, but it was enough for this one. He was standing right between a few reeds over here and gave a really nice fight. I actually noticed right from the beginning that this was a big fish. Super fun. That was a really nice pike, and it seems in general like the shallow waters have really proven to be the most effective today. We've caught a few pikes out into the deeper end, but most of the fish, and including that nice one that I just caught, were caught quite shallow and along the reed lines. I'm actually using quite a small lure. This is a 17 centimeter swim bait with a paddle tail. That's a very nice action in the water. I can fish it shallow, it doesn't sink too fast. And I can also have a quite nice hookup ratio by just using a single hook. So it's a very nice tactic to fish. Usually the strikes are very visible. I can oftentimes see a swirl coming behind the lure and then the pike attacks. And in this case the pike was really skating around along the reed lines, which was very exciting in the fight. So it's a very nice type of fishing, and that was a very nice pike.
got a small pike on the end of the day. Yeah, it's a pike at least.
That was certainly a successful day on the water. We had a lot of fun, caught a bunch of fish, and it was particularly exciting to do the challenge that we had today, where we put shallow water fishing versus deep water fishing. Conclusion is that, as expected, shallow waters produce a little bit more fish and also actually the biggest fish of the day. But you shouldn't rule out the deeper waters as well, even if you're fishing in the archipelago. We did actually catch quite a bunch of pikes, even in the deep waters. Something a little peculiar about that though was that a lot of those pikes that were caught in the deeper waters were actually caught on small lures. So there's another tip to match the hatch and try and imitate the bait fish, because as the pikes were probably feeding on smaller prey like bleaks, small lures will also prove very effective. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching this video and hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next episode of On the Hook Fishing. Tight lines, everybody.